Hi, so today I'll share one of my experience. What do you do? So there was a discussion with a young professional who is an upcoming team lead, and he last 3 years he has been doing fantastically well, fabulous, and he has been given all the raise that he deserved and all timely promotions, all timely raise incentives, everything. But he is not given the leadership position, right? So that was the problem. So many of us are perplexed with that. Why are we not? That is how I was also. I was also wondering when I started my career. So, if I am doing everything well, if I am being appreciated everywhere, if I am given the required uh, incentives and everything, why not the leadership position? That was my question when I started my career. So for that I took many decisions about mm, being in the decision making position. Obviously if I was doing something, then actually I wanted decision making capability or decision making responsibility as well, which was not there. So let us talk about that. I am Sangeeta and I am a leadership growth mentor, and I help you achieve leadership growth and it to how to make it obvious, how to make it automatic. That is what the subject I help you with. So the what do you mean by, so the tool I use is resourceful influence, and the method I use is AHAP method, and the technique is drip technique. So what do I mean by that? That is what I teach. The entire segment is entire portfolio is about that. But let me simplify this. If you don't have the qualification, you don't have the prior experience, but still you achieve result, what do you call that? What do you call that? That is what resourceful influencing is all about. Because given the situation, whether you are qualified previously or not, you are still doing great. That is what resourceful influence is. Basically, when I try to tell you about what is this, it is about managing self, managing time, and managing people. So any of this doesn't require any higher qualification, but definitely it requires sensibility, right? And it requires different kind of sensibility within, and that needs to be cultivated, and that is a discipline which leaders are required to have. Now, let me come to the self management aspect. What is self management? It is, according to the definition, it is about manage our behaviors, thoughts, and emotions in a conscious and productive way. Right? So, I have found out three questions to be asked. So, when I tell people, uh, like say, consciously, you what is your emotion, they are not able to do so. It takes lot of time to agree and to admit that this is the thought process that is going on. So first thought process is whether it takes you lot of pain or lot of resistance within or not. Ask these questions. What do you think most of the time? Is it, like say, what is a thought? So whatever you will think most of the time, that is where your focus will be. And if that is the focus, then all energy goes there. So whatever has been your thought process, that will happen, right? So if it is a positive thought, that definitely will do you good. And if it is a negative thought, it backfires on you. If you are thinking bad of somebody else, then it backfires, it happens bad with you. So that is the universal law. That is nothing I am doing. So, what is your dominant thought? Ask this question. The second is, Are you negatively thinking? The next question is, if you are thinking negatively, how do you know that? If you are depressed, most of the people, if they are thinking negatively, they don't admit. So let me tell you, if you are depressed, if you are frustrated, if you are angry, that is when you are negatively thinking. Or are you happy, joyful, friendly, and proactive? Which is the segment? Maybe you are alternatively happy, angry, jealous, everything, right? So that is where your focus goes, right? So focus on something positive, right? If you are able to alternate between different feelings, then why not focus? Use your strength to focus, your moral strength to focus on something positive. So do that. That is the second question. And if you have put your weekly goals, you are supposed to be, right? Because you are upcoming team lead. You are aspiring to be a team leader. So are you, have you achieved the weekly goals? Unless you do, actually you will get into complacency, ultimately leading to negativity. So that is these are the three aspects, concepts of self management. Then the second is, and there are seven skills to increase self management capabilities. There are 12 hacks how to sharpen your self management tricks. For that you need to, hey, that you need to have. Sorry about that. You need to refer to the course that I give you. That is a discipline. You have to be with me or anybody to develop this discipline, right? Then the time management skill. Everybody knows about time management, right? How to do it. What I do is, I divide my entire day into four segments. The morning thing, you cannot avoid everything, you get ready for work or everything, so that is your time. The middle is office time. So office time basically is 4 hours. So even if it is 8 hours, think that your work constitutes only 4 hours. The rest will be your interaction with the team, with the boss, with colleagues, and several other things, meetings and all that. One hack I'll give you is, when you are with the in a meeting with the boss or somebody, don't allow it to go indefinitely. Set the time to 45 minutes or 1 hour and finish within that. If anything extra, then you just close the meeting and afterwards you can continue. That habit will make you finish with things, finish with meetings. The other person also knows that you are very particular about time, otherwise it will continue, right? So that is the hack. There are so many things in the internet, how to manage time and what all you can do. That is there, you can refer to that. But again, for planning and executing and cultivating a discipline, you need a team, you need a person, accountability person, who takes care of whether you are accountable or not, right? So do that. The third is people management. you know Leaders are about people, and again, it has nothing to do with your qualification or capability. It is about empathizing, facilitating, and organizing team, right? That means you need to have consistent thinking and long term thinking. It cannot be uh, just touch and go, and right now and after it you are forgetting it, because the team together has to be there for this whatever you are doing, right? So that is what is team management. It is a very very broad subject. Now it is very particular to a person, is a separate individual. You as a person, you will have different scenario, and you might require a different solution, but the basic thing is the same. It is your empathy. Your end goal is to lead the team into success, right? So these are all three. And if you need any particular assistance, then there are a lot of things YouTube, but for your relevance, you can book a call with me. So refer to uh, the link below and book a call with me so that we can talk and discuss a solution. Mind you, this requires a discipline. You may find a short term solution, but in order not to have the difficulty returning to you again and again, you need to cultivate a discipline, right? For that, you need to come to the community. So, thank you for watching and let me know about your reaction. What do you think? And how can we work together? Thank you for watching. Thank you.